Welcome to the Path Monk Presents podcast. My name is Sean Donnelly Lewis, and I'm super excited about our episode today. Today, we're talking with Colton Griffin. He is the CEO at flourishsoftware.com. Colton, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Sean.
No problem. Tell us all about Flourish Software. What do you guys do?
We're supply chain management software built specifically for cannabis and hemp. So what that means is ERP functionality focused really mostly on distribution, manufacturing, and cultivation, built specifically for the vertical. And then we also are able to service our retail and e-commerce sections of our customer base as well. In cannabis, a lot of companies are vertically integrated, which means they own the production and the retail experience. And so we do service industry end to end.
Okay, so very niche, very one size does not fit all. How have you guys been able to grow the business? If it's so niche, how have you been able to get your foot in the door?
I mean, cannabis is one of the most interesting, fast growing industries in the country. So we jumped in about 4 years ago and have just, grinded away. We think we anchored with some really, really awesome clients in a couple markets. We have a background in supply chain software. So we really understood that domain. We worked really closely with our early customers to make them successful, and that success has bred success. I would say our dominant strategy the first couple of years was inbound and light prospecting, and then we picked up outbound. Over the last year and a half as we've grown as a company, and really focused on servicing our customers as the best we can. That our customers are great lead generation referral engines for us. Same with partners that we do well with in the market, and yeah, it's been a pretty cool journey the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's great. That's the organic growth side, right? People actually hearing what you're doing and then passing that on. Thinking about staying actually more digital. What purpose does a website play in acquiring new clients?
So our website has been our number one lead generation tool really since the beginning. Huge HubSpot fans, so we've really embraced all the inbound methodologies and sort of thought around how to attract folks and how to get them through a conversion, life cycle, and ultimately, get them on the phone and get them on the platform. So yeah, website's key. We just did a refresh over the last couple months, which has been good. We kind of have to tune it every, couple times a year. It's a fast moving industry, fast moving product. So we're always trying to stay up with the latest and greatest. And I think we definitely have invested in technology behind the sales and marketing team to help make their lives easier. Beautiful thing about vertical SaaS is we sort of know our customer and where they live. So it's about reaching them and being really effective in that, and then also educating them and helping them understand, how what we do helps improve their day to day.
Yeah, so thinking of the strengths of the website, what would you say would be the strength? Would it be the ability to convert, the quality of leads generated, the user experience?
I would say it's conversion and just the ability to attract. And we have awesome SEO ranking. They paid a lot of attention to that really since day one. As soon as we had the company name, we had the website up and started building out the right content, and it was very key in sort of helping own, the first page of Google there for most of our key searches. So I think we're really good at attracting and then converting, and we're right now optimizing a lot of stuff to help better assess, better market qualify the leads. So, looking at intentions and where they might be in the journey instead of just throwing them all into one generic lead funnel, which has worked well, early on. But as we're growing, we're finding that we want to be a little smarter with that.
And coming back to what you guys do for everyone listening, what would you say would be the thing that separates you guys from the other people that are in the same space? I don't know anything about the space. So are there other people? Do you have competition? Is this something, what separates you guys from the pack?
So it's our ability to integrate and anchor the whole tech ecosystem for our customers. So, smaller to mid-sized companies, sometimes growing very, very rapidly. Our largest customer went from 50 to 1,500 employees in like under 2 years.
Wow.
So, we grew a lot with them early on. And I think our ability to, intelligently deploy the software aligned with your operations, coach people as they're growing their business, continue to give them the tools they need as they're adding headcount and, doubling their volumes and tripling their volumes. And then our ability to integrate into other systems that they inevitably are going to need to use around finance and e-commerce or CRM. Those are the two things that really I think we stand out in. I mean, the tech is awesome. It works well. It's well designed. The landscape was pretty horrendous when we entered the market. There's a lot more people that have thrown their hat into the ring, the last couple of years. But I feel like we really hit the sweet spot as far as like building it at the right time with the right, background. And yeah, we're doing well.
Yeah, I've heard it said that that you always want to stay a half step ahead of people, right? Because a whole step you're going to be too far. Nobody's going to go along with you, or you're not going to be able to pull anybody with you. But then obviously, if you're a whole step behind, then yeah, you're a whole step behind. So this is an amazing part of the show for me because I get to pick your brain. You're CEO. You've been able to grow a business over the last couple years. So I just want to speak about maybe some challenges. Pick your brain when you hear the word innovation. What would be the biggest challenge in growth when you hear the word innovation?
So, I'm a big fan of like product-led growth. So I would say we have sort of three elements to our how we think about growth in general. One is, our inbound and, attracting customers and organic, like lead flow. Another is outbound, which, we're trying to be very smart with our outbound, use our resources appropriately. It's nice to pair that with good marketing. And then the third is expansion through the product. So, I think early on, you kind of just give the product as it is to your customers, and then you learn how to segment them and how like they adopt different pieces and what pieces you can monetize. And so, being able to rapidly like assess and innovate on the product, like to keep up with customer demands in a world in which B2B SaaS becomes very consumer focused, consumer feeling at a certain degree, and then give that feedback loop from like sales and marketing back to product. I mean, that's kind of what I think a lot about, like how we're innovating to drive growth. It's like tight communication, good feedback loops, and then throwing the right things into the product to help us uh, get the right customer, keep the right customer, and grow our customers on the platform.
Same idea, keeping the same idea here. What would you say is the biggest challenge when you hear ROI when it comes to growth? What would be the biggest challenge for that?
You know, um, ROI as it comes to growth, like you want to be able to measure, where your investments are translating to success. Like I feel like by virtue of using a good CRM and marketing platform, I mean, you should be able to capture attribution for, leads and convert rates. And, I think we're always tuning the sort of return on our investment and growth, but it should just be natively built into how you run the day to day. So we don't fret a lot about, choice A versus choice B. I mean, you want to bite out something, test it, prove it out, and then expand it. I would say around engineering, like when we think about like growth, like return on investment for big engineering projects where we're putting developers on it, for like a month or 2 months on something, that's maybe where the ROI calculations have to be like really well vetted. So, prior to taking on projects like that, we'll do a lot of work with just customer discovery and validate the designs, and essentially want to make sure that the buyer is there before we put those type of resources on it.
And one last question, keeping the same thing going, conversion optimization. What would you say is the biggest challenge in growth when you hear conversion optimization?
So conversion optimization, it's it's just like a constant, you're constantly learning and testing, right? I mean, it's you know, we're we're expanding our marketing team. we've been trying out different strategies around podcasts and content and structures on the page. We A/B test stuff. We'll throw something out, run it for 1 to 3 months, see how it performs, tune it, test that, tune it again, test that. I mean, it's just like a constant experiment on optimization. And if something's working, it's great, but you can't take your eye off of it because the market chatter changes, like what people are thinking about changes. As soon as we solve a certain set of customer problems, our competition starts to catch up and starts to also message on those pain points, and so then we have to refresh the talking points. Like it's in SaaS, it's just a war of features and messaging and points, and it's like just constant attention.
Very cool. Just wanting to switch gears here a little bit and talk about you as a leader. Colton, what kind of content do you consume to educate yourself and grow as a person and as a professional?
So I love to read. I'll take book recommendations wherever I get them. Try to carve out some time to make that. I mean, it's trying to get through a book or two a month is important. I love to read just articles and blogs from I think VCs that are deploying a lot of capital across interesting companies being successful. Subscribe to a number of different blogs and podcasts and content they put out. Learning from what's working in the market and trying to stay up to speed on that. Some of our tools that we use produce some really good content that we use to educate. So HubSpot has a great academy. Some of the other dev tools and stuff we have some learning that they send out. So I appreciate when our vendors help us learn how to best adopt their tools and sort of the philosophy behind them. I would say that. I mean, and it's one of our core values at the company is to just always be learning and be curious about stuff. So we have a couple Slack channels just for sharing things that are interesting and learning from each other.
Nice. That's a good idea. I might actually suggest that for us, that we have a designated Slack channel to what everybody's learning. That's a super cool idea. Before we end the show, I just want to throw you into our rapid fire section. So what I do is I just ask questions mercilessly and you answer them as quickly and honestly as possible. Feeling good about it?
Shoot.
Okay. Well, you just talked about books. So tell me, what was the last book that you read?
I read this book by Reid Hoffman on culture at Netflix. I don't remember what the title was, but it's been pretty good.
What's the single thing that your company is focused on the most at the moment?
The moment right now, focused on an awesome new discount engine for our retail point of sale. Excited to get that out next week.
If there were no boundaries in technology, what would be the one thing you want to have fixed for your company today?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
Anything possible, anything at all. No boundaries.
I would love to magically pull the data from all the different SaaS tools we have into a nice packaged data warehouse for me to pull all my reports on. We use a lot of tech across the departments, and sometimes the data alignment is a pain.
Sounds like a new investment. Sounds like a new business.
Yeah, 8 spam emails.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about your company?
Let's see. I think about Flourish every day, 24/7. So, our next hire is just always, it's kind of what I've been thinking about this last 2 weeks is, that right candidate.
If you were to restart over at the company at Flourish, what would be the one piece of advice you give yourself?
So, I have good coaches that taught me a little bit into this about how much culture matters, and I can't underscore that enough. I would say if I was going to learn one thing, it would be to fire a little bit faster. We've always done a good job of hiring slow, but a low performer really does weigh down the team. And so, as painful as it is, I would probably go back and maybe learn that lesson always
Yeah.
always have a hiring pipeline as well. It's no fun to not be able to make that hire when you got the cash ready to do it, and you have to go source and pay recruiters. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think anybody that's run a company probably that would resonate well with them as well. All right, Colton Griffin, you can check out what they're doing at flourishsoftware.com. Colton, thank you so much for being on the show today. The last thing on the show is the last word, which belongs to you. We let our guests just have the last word. So if you feel like there's anything that we left out, or if you just want to sum up everything that we talked about, I just want to give you the last word today. The floor is yours.
awesome. Well, appreciate having me on. And if anyone that's listening is in the cannabis or hemp world and looking to use software to drive their business in a positive way, know that when you're buying Flourish, you're not just buying awesome tech, you're buying an awesome team that supports it and helps you adopt it and reach those goals. So hopefully our website does us justice, and we'd love any feedback on it. So I just appreciate you having me today.
All right, thanks. Take care, Colton.
Thanks.